Welcome to Ambition Unleashed podcast. Today's guest is a 10-year Army veteran, a mom of three beautiful children, and the founder of a digital learning platform called Enrichly. Margo Jordan, thank you so much for being on the show today, Margo.
Thanks for having me, Marcela. I'm so excited to be here. You're such an amazing human. So anything for you.
You are all the way in Abu Dhabi, so thank you so much. I know you said it's like 11 p.m. right now, it's 11 a.m. here in LA, so thanks for staying awake for us.
My pleasure.
You, first of all, I want to say thank you. You are a 10-year Army veteran, so thank you so much for your service. I love seeing just incredible, strong women in the military and then doing amazing things and having families.
My pleasure. Military veteran is one of my favorite titles. It's my pleasure.
You started your company during COVID, correct? And you started it as a new mom. You have three kids?
Yes. So I started my company actually started it in 2016, but it was a completely different version from what it was when I started in 2020. I had a brick and mortar location, and then as a result of COVID, I had to start a completely different business in 2020. And I had just had my third child, and at the time she had just turned one. I was a mom of three, and I had a dog, a little baby. And I decided to start an entirely new journey with this digital learning platform.
If you learned how to find grants for women in the tech industry, can you walk us through? Because I've done that, and I know how incredibly difficult it is. Can you walk us through this journey and how you found these grants? You've raised over, what is it, $500,000 now? I think in a short time, like a year or something.
Okay, so to date, I've probably raised about $2 million in funding.
Wow.
And this is from like grants, pitch competitions, angel investors, VC funds. But it all started in 2020 when we were in the pandemic. So I was in the middle of getting my MBA, and we had to choose one of our like optional elective classes. And I chose to do a grant writing class. I've always wanted to learn how to write grants effectively, and I knew that there was so much capital out there for women, for people of color. So I just decided to take this grant writing class. And when I took the class, I learned how to search for the specific grants that I need, the type of databases I needed to be set up in, what certifications I needed, and then how to actually structure the proposal. So after I did that, I had actually written my very first, it was like 100-page proposal, and it was to do this teen pregnancy prevention program. Now, winning the grant meant that I would win like $1.2 million. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to win this grant. I didn't end up winning, but I scored like a 97 on the proposal. And when you get to 100, that's when, you get funded. I was like, oh, I was 3 points away. So, but I took that experience and I carried it with me as I went and looked for other funding opportunities with either different foundations or, even looking for angels and pitching to VCs. The structure is always the same. You just have to change up the language based on the audience that you're, trying to get these funds from.
That's amazing. And you just learned this all on your own. I think that's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about your company? I know the basics of it, and I know that you use it to help children strengthen their self-esteem, which is so important right now, but you use it in a way where they don't even realize that they're learning and growing. Can you walk us through what your company does for kids?
Yeah. So high level, we use gamification and data and machine learning to improve self-esteem in kids. So what does that mean? We pretty much use these digital games to unlock the best version of a child. And we do that by embedding the self-esteem development techniques into each game. And we teach children by just really giving them the tools that they need. So we say, okay, these are the 10 ways that you can boost your self-esteem. Here are, 10 things that you can do to improve your self-respect, things like that, that are all centered around really developing self-esteem. And it honestly, it used to be a brick and mortar location. It was like a self-esteem learning center, essentially for girls. But then I changed it so that we can also target boys. It wasn't until the pandemic forced us to close our center down um, that we decided to just be completely digital. So the platform, we, host these digital learning games, and then we also host certain content that is focused on developing self-esteem. So we may have a special guest come on and we'll record a webinar, and it's about, maybe improving self-esteem with social media. We had like the whole cast of Disney's Raven's Home come to Enrichly's platform, and they talked about social media
Wow.
and self-esteem. It was so much fun for the kids, and they took home a lot of gems and nuggets from this young cast when it comes to improving your self-esteem, in the face of something like social media. So that's
Oh, I
pretty
think
much in a nutshell what we do.
that's so important right now, and especially even for adults, I feel like it's hard to not be on Instagram or any kind of social media platform and see people and think, gosh, what's wrong with me? Why am I not living as well as they are? Or why can I be better? And it's so easy for us to compare. And I think that that's a really dangerous thing when it comes to children. So what
Yeah.
you're doing is incredible. Why did you create this? Like, what made you think of this idea?
So I always have to go back to like the beginning. So I grew up in a place called Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And when I was a little girl, I would definitely say I suffered from low self esteem at times. And this was really due to a bunch of childhood traumas. My parents were married and divorced a couple of different times. My mother was a veteran. She suffered from PTSD. So that led me to being this kid in high school, just making a bunch of poor decisions. But when I turned 18, that's when I decided to join the military. And in the military is where I developed my self esteem. And I was really able to not only realize what my potential was, but I was able to reach towards that potential. So fast forward to me, graduating from Texas Southern University with my bachelor's degree in finance. I graduated at the top of my class, and I went into investment banking. But I quickly realized that was not what I wanted to do. I really wanted to create this solution to a problem that I had as a kid. And I knew that so many adults had this issue around low self esteem. And sure enough, to my research, I found out that about 85% of the adult population have low self esteem. Crazy. And
Wow.
then 75% of children between the ages of 7 and 11, they also suffer from low self esteem. So it got me to thinking like, there are tons of nonprofits or organizations targeted towards like boosting confidence, or if you want to, teach your child about confidence, you can put them in like maybe a karate class or a sports class, but there was nothing really targeted towards boosting low self-esteem or teaching people how to have a healthy self-esteem. So I left corporate America and I decided to, run my business, and I built my brick and mortar. And from there I've just been impacting kids and learning as I go. And it's been a fun journey, but like, why not create something that's going to impact the world in a positive way? And it's really what I'm passionate about.
Now, how did you get to the point where you pitched your first VC or your angel investor? Because I know we met through Dan Fleischman, who has also been on this show. He was one of your investors. But
Yes.
how did you find these people and how did you approach them? What did you is there a website you go to? Is there uh, ho- like let's say I have a company and I want to pitch it to people. Where do I go? How do I do it?
Well, so I had actually, so Dan was like my first angel check. And it was really interesting because this was when Clubhouse was being used a lot. And I think this was maybe like my fourth day on Clubhouse. And my sister had actually texted me and she said, "Hey, they're having this like Shark Tank pitch room going on right now. And I really think you should come in and pitch." Um, Interestingly enough, a couple of weeks prior, I was also in a different pitch competition and I won first place and I took home $10,000 from that. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pitch. I'm going to get one of these sharks to invest in my company. And then I went in there and I pitched. I think I did like a 1 minute or 2 minute pitch, something like that. And the entire room went like crazy. They were like, oh my gosh, where did you learn how to pitch like that? And Dan was like, I'm investing in your company. So Patrick Flanagan, he actually did an email introduction between us. And, it was kind of history from there. I met Dan in Florida and he wrote me a check. It was like, here. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. This is fun. But I actually got someone to believe in what I was doing. And, since then, I've always been on the lookout for different pitch competitions or grant funding opportunities. There was like a notification that I would set on my phone for Google. So whenever something would pop up or whenever an opportunity would arise from Google, and I would put in certain keywords like pitch competition, non-dilutive funding, ed tech, whenever those words would pop up, I would get a notification to say, hey, here's an opportunity, and it just came directly to my phone. Other times it was just word of mouth. Like I may have heard about an opportunity from someone else, or I may have been scrolling on my LinkedIn and based on, search history and things that I've been looking for, things will pop up on my timeline, so that's really one way that technology is so cool nowadays because, it can be used for evil, but it's also used for good. And I leveraged these sort of AI tools to help me find more funding opportunities.
That's incredible. You're also in schools, I've heard.
Yes.
Abu Dhabi, all of Abu Dhabi has asked you to be in their schools. I mean, how wild is that? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so I had stumbled upon another funding opportunity. And this was where the government of Abu Dhabi, it's the Early Childhood Authority, they were looking for companies from like globally to come into the region with like holistic ways to help improve mental health and like the whole child. And this was an opportunity that I found via Techstars. Techstars is an accelerator that if you get accepted, they'll invest in your company. And then you go through like 12 weeks of different types of training. So I had gotten into 2 different Techstars programs. And one of the programs was for the Abu Dhabi program. And I literally had to go through, I don't know, like 7 different interview processes. And as a part of the last step in the process, it was 9 companies and they were only going to choose 6. The royal family of Abu Dhabi had to hand select what company they wanted to be in the region. And they hand selected Enrichly. And I know a lot of it has to do with like obviously the mission of the company, who the founder is, and how well they think the company will do in the region. So I was like super excited and thrilled to have been selected. I was on pins and needles waiting for them to decide who was going to get selected. And then when they let me know, Enrichly, I was like, oh my gosh. It took a lot to put the application together, to really put forth a decent proposal, but it was definitely all worth it, so that's how we got here.
That's amazing. And I can't even imagine the roller coaster of emotions that you went through, and you probably had to implement the same techniques that you're using in your program and Enrichly to teach these kids on yourself, because I would feel so intimidated knowing I'm presenting my pitch and my company to the royal family of Abu Dhabi, and then you're picked, and now what? Where do you go from here? Like that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, look, we teach children every day, all day, how to believe in yourself, like how to view yourself with the utmost positive light. And all honesty, it was interesting because there was a company that was on my pitch deck for the longest time that I listed as a competitor, right? Because they were doing so good in the space. Like every time I would see something, I would see something about this company and how well they're doing. And we listed them as a competitor because they were doing something close to Enrichly, but they weren't really doing what we were doing. So when I went through this interview process, the program director tells me, "Oh, that company was on your pitch deck. They actually are up for this program as well, but we're going to pick you instead." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
So this company that I literally thought was doing so much better than me, and they are an amazing company. Um, they wanted to pick Enrichly, and it was like an aha moment. Like, girl, you are amazing. What you are building is something that people want, and I have to continuously tell myself these things because it's that imposter syndrome that creeps in. But it's so funny. There's a game on in Enrichly's platform, and it's where it's kind of like ad lib. So you put in like these negative statements that you think about yourself, and then you put in positive statements that you think about yourself, and then like you put in like your favorite food, what is your favorite thing to do, and then it spits out this letter to yourself, and it says, "Face it, Margo, you're the best thing since seafood. No one
Oh,
cares if you lost a pitch competition or if you didn't complete a proposal. You're still a great mother. You're an amazing friend." And like I literally do the exercise all the time because I have to
I was
remind
just gonna say,
myself.
can adults use this exercise? I could use it. I would like to use it, please.
Yes, yes. Please use it. I'll send you a link, and you can do the exercise. It's so much fun, and it's a great reminder of these are the things that I've accomplished. So feel good about those things and stop second guessing yourself. That's like our biggest failure. We're always second guessing ourselves, what we can do, what we can accomplish, and we miss so many opportunities because we don't go for it because we feel like we are not going to get it, we're not good enough, whatever the case is. Billions of opportunities are missed because of low self-esteem, and we're here to make up for that.
That's so exciting. I feel like I know Enrichly is going to change the world and just help so many people. And it's nice that you're helping children because as adults, I think sometimes you have to be conscious as a parent to make sure that you're not passing on any fears or any negative beliefs that you have about something onto your children. And so
Yeah,
it's really nice that you have a program that even if they're in a home where they're being taught things that they shouldn't be taught, and maybe the parent just doesn't know any better, you're able to help correct that and reach that child and and help them so that they can unlock their highest potential. I think that's just absolutely incredible of Enrichly.
thank you.
You're welcome. So you have kids, do your kids play with these games?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I have a 4-year-old. She's 4 now. She's almost 5. And there's a game called Safari Confidence. And it's so cute because it teaches her about like positive affirmations, but then it also teaches her how to be a good citizen in the world and make sure you're keeping our planet clean. And it's so cute because she's asking me all the time, "Mommy, can we play the game? Can we play the game?" And I'm like, "Okay, just give me a second." But she literally plays it like every day. So the older kids, they really love like the positive affirmation games. We're always updating, and they're like my QA people. I say, "Hey, go test this game out. Do you like it? What would you change? Is it fun?" And then they come back and say, "Well, mom, you should change this or you should put this here." So it's so much fun having
You
kids
have the
that can
perfect
try out.
panel at home.
Yes. I have all of my team. They have kids as well. So everybody on the team, like we have our kids just play the games and give us feedback. So it's great.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Because your kids will be honest. So
Oh yeah,
just
they
so you
are
know if it's really good
brutally
or not.
yes.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. And you coined a term PD tech. What does that mean?
Yes. So I was every time I apply for like a pitch competition or I'm looking for VC funding and I have to fill out their like stupid applications, they have these industries. And every time I'm filling out these applications, I can never find an industry for like where Enrichly fits because we're not really ed tech because we sell into different verticals. We're not health tech because we don't just sell to health tech. So I came up with personal development technology. So PD
Oh,
Tech.
that's cool.
Um, personal development is such a huge space. And I was thinking, if we have health tech, we have insure tech, we have ed tech, we have all of these different techs, why don't we have something for personal development? And Enrichly is like the first true personal development technology because our focus is solely on self-esteem. And we've put technology behind it so that we make it more effective. Our recommendation engine, the personalization of the experience for each user based on how they're struggling with their self-esteem versus someone else. So we make sure that the technology is equitable, right? Like this person may not struggle with self-respect, but they struggle with feelings of self-worth. And they doubt they doubt themselves. So, I just kind of coined the term. Well, we're PD tech, personal development technology,
I like
and we
that.
kind of carved out our own space.
I like that. That's awesome. That's awesome, Margo. And um, so are you working on also growing into schools here in the US? Is that I mean, I know your
Yeah.
goal is probably to be globally.
Oh yes. I mean, so we started in Texas actually, and in Houston. We're actually in the largest school district in Texas, which is the seventh largest in the nation, which is Houston Independent School District. They had literally did like an entire like press release, and I went on the local news channel to talk about how we're expanding the self esteem with students across HISD. It was so much fun. But we're also currently looking to expand in Atlanta, and California, probably Los Angeles, and then Florida, Jacksonville. So we are expanding. We're growing. It's so crazy because we had like a 180% growth from 21 to 23. And I'm really excited to
Wow.
see what this year will bring, how many schools we're going to onboard. Like, I'm just really excited about that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I'm really excited to hear from these children in several years and just see how this has positively impacted their lives and just to see what they do with their lives because they worked on their self-esteem and personal development. So I think
Yes,
that's really
I'm excited
cool.
about that too.
I'm so excited for you. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. We are launching a membership program where our listeners they have the opportunity to hear you, and we'll include your Instagram and we'll include ways for them to link up with you. But we want to offer them more. So we want to offer them a membership community where they can come in and they can have a day where they get to meet you on a virtual program. You can just teach them what it is to start a company, to look for VCs, to submit your pitch deck and everything that you've done because I know that you describe it so easily, but I know I know it's not. It's a lot of work and it's really hard and I think it's very
It
intimidating
is.
for a lot of people and it probably stops a lot of great companies from even going forward because they're scared to make that first step and they're worried that they won't do it right. So would you be a part of our program and help mentor people and teach them?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Look, I'm always looking for mentoring opportunities. I think when you give back so much knowledge, that you've gained as you are trying to grow your own company, and pay it forward, it does so much for yourself. And these communities that we are constantly trying to build up. So I would love to do it.
I'm so excited. And that's one of the common factors that I've noticed with all our guests. What you just said is the importance of paying it forward and giving back. I've
Yeah.
noticed that um, every successful person has that same common factor. They understand the importance of giving back to others and they value that and it's genuine.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is so genuine. And I mean, I love giving back. I love being a mentor, and really adding value to people so that they can also, reach their goals.
Okay, well, you guys, I'll let you know once we start our mentorship program and you'll be able to learn from Margo and Who knows, Margo? Who knows how you're going to inspire these adults listening now that you're already inspiring
Yes.
kids. Now you're going to start inspiring adults, and I'm excited to see what people do because of you. So,
Well, thank you for having me, Marcella. It's been such a pleasure.
thank you, Margo, and I can't wait to see you when you're back here in the States. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Abu Dhabi. And I'm excited to hear what else you've done when you come back.
Yes, we'll be sure to plan a lunch date when I am in LA.
Yes, please. Thank you, Margo. Have a good night. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Marcella. Bye.
Bye.